So what is a bro? In the last segment, we talked to students and grad student teacher Alexander Corey to gain a better perspective on what bro culture is here at CU. The themes of hypermasculinity and heteronormativity seem to be what embody bro here at CU. But what about those that don't fall into those constructs? In the next section, we're going to look at diversity and its role on campus, as well as its role in bro culture here at CU.
Bro's got backwards hat.
Flat brim hats, board shorts, cool haircut.
Polo and a backwards hat.
Eat pizza, drink, maybe smoke some weed.
Oh, bro tanks. Just saw one go by.
They have like a draw, like a little something caught in their throat.
Like Sperry's.
Probably buy the clothing, style, I guess.
Play cool sports.
He throws footballs on the field shirtless. Bros drive trucks.
Yeah, drive trucks, definitely.
Really?
Oh, this is pretty great.
No, I mean this building.
Oh, it is. This is for residence halls. This residence hall has a stereotype of being the gay dorm. That's what people.
I came to the Diversity Center to speak with Brendan Kelly, the coordinator of the diversity program for the residency halls here on campus. His job is to manage the program's direction and help navigate students who don't necessarily fall into the conventional social constructs of a typical college student.
Do you see bro culture as being confined to freshmen, or does it go all the way to a more senior class that are more educated, have been out on their own for a while, or a little bit more life experienced?
I don't think it's certainly not confined to freshmen, but I definitely can see it being more popular, and I think that's from, you know, like I said earlier in this interview, there's people have this small bubble that they live in, and they try to understand their own identity, express their identity to other people, and try to make sense of the world based on those perceptions. And then they come to a university, especially one as large as CU Boulder, and suddenly those identities and everything that they've done before have been challenged. And a lot of people, especially young 18-year-old guys who come to college and they don't have a wealth of experiences, they turn towards the thing that they feel most safe about. And we certainly have this perpetuation in society of saying bro culture is good. You do this and you are good to go. Nobody's going to make fun of you. You'll have friends. You'll have this community. And that's attractive to a lot of people. But it also means that they try to change who they are.
You know, I can't speak to being an undergrad, but from what I see, there's not a lot of space, right, to explore alternative sexualities. We don't have to.
This is Elizabeth Whalley, a CU grad student and instructor who specializes in sexualized violence. She's also involved in the LGBTQ community in Boulder and volunteers as a hotline operator for MESA, Movement to End Sexual Assault.
In general, when you're feeling threatened by a male who might hurt you, especially if you're another guy, if you're a gay man, and you're feeling threatened by a hyper-masculine guy who's going to hurt you, you're not going to be as open about your sexuality because of bros being around to police their own sexuality. But part of policing their sexuality is making sure that other people are put in their place.
Well, what type of experience does that make for the rest of the student body that doesn't fit into this quote-unquote hypermasculine heteronormative bro culture?
Well, right, that's what's hard about it, is that most guys are not bros, and most guys are not hypermasculine, and I think it's important to keep in mind as well that these are roles that people move in and out of. So you could have a guy who seems hyper-masculine, like maybe on the football field, and then he's crying to his girlfriend later. It's not like he's hyper-masculine across the board. It's not like bros are always bros. I'm sure they go home to a nice Thanksgiving and they kiss their mom and hug them, and that doesn't seem that bro-y, right? But they still taint this, I think they have the effect of like poisoning a barrel of apples, right? So that if there's a certain small subset of the community that is spending some of their time policing sexuality, they're going to make everyone feel like their sexuality is being policed.
In Greek life, I get all these masculine associations attached to me. And let's be for real, I mean, I may be able to sit there, drink beer with the boys, and talk football, but I'm doing it out of a pink cup at the same time.
This is Sean Espinoza, a senior at CU who majors in broadcast journalism a member of the LGBT community here on campus, and a former cheerleader for the University of Colorado, who is now a pledged fraternity member.
Sometimes, because they're gay, people think they have to queen out, and it's really unfortunate that those pressures really impede on some people's life to get down.
In regards to diversity, more dealing with people of color, race on campus, what is your general consensus for the space that they inhabit here at CU in fraternity life?
This is a white school.
And do you think that affects kind of the culture and the trends, that the way people act around in CU campus?
Absolutely. There are stereotypes that if you're black, you're an athlete. If you're Hispanic, you're here on scholarship for some reason. There are a lot of associations, I think, that come with color. And in terms of race, that's another thing. I think because of these racialized sexualities as well, not even having to do with the LGBT community, but just racialized sexualities, masculinity is something that definitely is always having to be proven. Otherwise, it counts against you.
Rachel Elzey is a CU undergrad who also works at Community Health on campus. She thinks bro culture maintains a privilege specific to those that are invested in the heteronormative white male experience.
It seems like it's typifying white, heterosexual male experience, and the way that plays out is oppression to other groups who don't fit that identity.
How does that play into bro culture, and does it have something to do with patriarchy? I mean, is it patriarchal tendencies that are bottlenecked down, and they're kind of what's controlling the system of bro, or at least at the top?
An interesting study was done. I've been to universities very similar to that, in places like Ohio, upstate New York, very similar to that. And there have been studies that have been done on this, and interestingly, when you have a more diverse campus, and even within the fraternity culture, time after time you see less sexual assault. It actually turns out that some of the highest rates of sexual assault are when you have a homogenous group of white males coming together. This is still being broken down by sociologists trying to understand this. What is going on within white culture that you're seeing this more than when you diversify your campus and you diversify these organizations? It's a great question. I wish I could answer that in a more forensic way.
But just like bro culture and trying to dissect it and define it, it's also a vague concept, because all the factors that create it and give it its power, or maybe not its power, but its statistics, so to speak.
I'll say this, that bro culture is kept alive through privilege, and I see male privilege as being a big part of that. Males feel entitled. There's an entitlement that comes with being a guy. In other words, I'm going to throw the party. I'm going to have the alcohol. I'm going to control transportation. I'm going to control how women dress. And so I have an entitlement to her. No, guys aren't consciously saying that. They're not saying things like that out loud. But there's an entitlement that comes with being a bro.
Bro culture creates an atmosphere of entitlement for those who fall into its constructs. This means race and diversity have to follow a certain set of social rules that are administered by the white male experience, leaving them confined to not being as prominent in the public sphere. In the next segment, we're going to look at white privilege and how it plays into bro culture, who it affects, and how it's administered here on campus.